Hi, I'm Mark Jobe, and lately I've been thinking and talking to a lot of men about what it means to live as a man of God in a post-Christian culture. Let me just say, if you're listening to this and you're a man, it's going to be a battle. You've already felt it. We live in a moment in time where understanding what it means to be a man or woman is very confusing in our culture. The traditional models of manhood and what it means to be a man have been diluted. There's a lot of confusion around human sexuality. There's a lot of brokenness in homes, so there's men that are raised without a clear sense of what it means to be a man, first of all, but what it means to be a man of God. There is an avalanche of addictions, of brokenness, of confusing messages, of not being rooted and grounded. I speak to men really all around the country, and what I'm sensing of so many men is that they are struggling with what it really means to be a man of God in this culture. So I want to encourage you. God has called you, engineered you, designed you, and made you. He is the author of true manhood. He defines manhood in Scripture from the very beginning in the book of Genesis. Male and female, He created them, distinct and yet very compatible. In the New Testament and the Old Testament, there are clearly defined characteristics of what it means to be a man of God. And I want to challenge you on a couple of fronts. If you're a father, if you're a husband, if you're a single guy, there's a couple challenges I want to give you. First of all, let me talk to those that are single and maybe younger, not married. I want to challenge you to understand that if you're going to live as a man of God, guarding yourself in the area of sexual purity is paramount. If you're dating, I want to challenge you to lead in the dating relationship. I want to challenge you to be the one that exercises a spiritual influence on that relationship. I challenge young men all the time, including my sons when they were dating, to embrace pace, purity, and perspective, and that's for a whole nother teaching. But I believe that unless you are intentional, unless you are convicted, unless you are 100% saying, God, I'm going to yield to you, then you will easily capitulate into sexual immorality, into loose commitment, into not setting the stage and the ground for what it means to date right and eventually to marry. So I want to challenge you as a young man, guard yourself in sexual purity, find a mentor that can speak into your life, get involved in serving others, stop living just for yourself, see that God has a gifting in your life and a calling upon your life. So rise up to the occasion, even as a single man, and say, I'm going to serve God, I'm going to walk in sexual purity, I'm going to cultivate my spiritual life, I'm going to make a difference in this world now. If you're married, I want to challenge you men, in this world where there's a lot of confusion, where there's low commitment, and where I hear all the time, I don't feel like she's meeting my needs, or we were in love before, we've fallen out of love. I want to challenge you that God's design for marriage is that you would cultivate it. It's bigger than your feelings. It's about, first of all, commitment. It's about a covenant relationship with your spouse. It's not about you. It's about you together in the family that you are creating. And so I want to challenge you, if you're struggling in your marriage, be the pursuer. Step into that. God has called you to lead in that relationship. And so I would challenge you not to be passive. I would challenge you to take steps of obedience and pursue your wife. You say, well, I don't feel those feelings right now. Pursue her until those feelings emerge, because obedience comes before feelings, always. I want to also challenge you about those of you that have children. You are a significant, powerful influence on your children. The Bible is very, very clear about that, the responsibility that we have to invest in our children. In fact, can I tell you something, Dad? Your little girl will learn how to relate to a man, what to expect in a marriage, and what she tolerates or doesn't tolerate in the behavior of a man from you. The way you treat your wife and the way you treat her, you are coaching her into the future as to what she accepts or doesn't accept. The first man she ever falls in love with is you. So remember that. You have a strong, high responsibility to cultivate and nurture her heart of identity. For your young boys that you're raising, I want to let you know as well that they learn manhood from you. They're watching you. It's not just what you say, it's how you live. You are setting that example. And so remember, whether you think you have an influence or not, you are highly, deeply influencing their view of manhood, the good, the bad, the strong. And so channel them to God. Be the initiator at your household. Pray before meals. Bless them before they go to bed at night. Be the one that engages in those conversations about spirituality. And then lastly, I want to challenge you men that maybe are a little bit older. Maybe you have grandkids. Maybe you're at a season of life where you're an empty nester. You have a powerful opportunity to mentor and invest in the next generation. You don't have to have a perfect track record because no one does. But listen to me, man of God, that you are in your seasoned stage of life. You have a tremendous opportunity to invest in the next generation. This generation of men can Google anything faster. They have access to information, a barrage of information, but they lack mentors. They have an onslaught of any kind of research or information at the tip of their fingers. But what they don't have is mentors that speak wisdom into their life. They don't have mentors that can model what it means to live godly in a world that's very ungodly. So I want you to know that both in the life of young men, the life of your grandchildren, the life of your sons and daughters, you exercise a tremendous, powerful influence. So don't waste the influence that God has placed on your life. This is the time, this is the day for men of God to rise up in a culture that's confused and to live in a gracious, godly, Christ-centered way that will be in contrast to the world that's around us. May God give you the strength to live that way.